Yeah, from your scalp to your feet. I did the question when you speak. Let me ask you something real quick. I feel like as artists, we all kind of just submit our feels and our words, and we use our language the best way we know how. I want to know if you feel like music submission should have an age limit. I'm watching these kids on YouTube and they're cursing, they're holding guns up, and I'm understanding that they have feel like freedom of speech to submit this information. But if it's their parents that's shooting the video, if it's their parents that's what I'm saying, that's approving the submissions, if they're altering the YouTube settings to be able to submit this information and subject my son to it because they might be going to the same school, then what are we really talking about? How do you guys feel about this?
Those sound like my kind of kids, man. Where the party at? These little kids can kick
Sean, you
it.
need to relax.
You really just said that.
Sean, you need to relax.
Bringing the burners to the party.
These kids know how to kick it. What is going on?
You bugging, dude. You bugging.
Oh man!
No, I say that.
But in a real way, it's like you want them to not take that to the streets. You feel me? You want them to really
Those
express
kids
it.
need love the most, really.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Yes, they do.
I mean, that's a tough question, man. Because
They
for
always
me, I look at it in terms of like, I want to champion the free speech and all that, right?
Right.
Because we need it as artists,
Yes.
right? But then like, man, I don't think that a lot of the younger generation understands how, man, words are powerful, bro.
You go from freedom of speech to influencer like that quick.
Yeah.
You're quicker than you can handle it.
In our generation, there was just so many words we couldn't say. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
it just was forbidden, like unwritten rules. Like, don't even go there with that.
There was literally a
Like
television.
suicide or something. You couldn't even really
there-
talk about.
There was literally a television show called "Things You Can't Do on Television."
For sure.
I-
No,
I-
that's
I-
real.
say things were a lot more censored, but at the same time, things were also like a lot more like raw. Like there was a lot more that you that was said that you shouldn't have said. Like like whether it was like relative to racial or sexual orientation and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was a lot of words that they was saying that they didn't need to be saying back in the day.
I
A
feel
lot
like
of
you had to
innuendos,
stand on
things
your
like
words
that.
more.
Yeah.
No,
That's
back
another
when,
thing.
and I feel like back when TLC and this kind of era was around, and like they would use innuendos in the ways that it was just barely risque enough for us to be able to get by, and Genuine Pony. You feel me? We let those ride by, and it's not like those were bad records at all. But I know these are influencers, and we influence with our words, like we just spoke about, like Be Real just said, and it's like, or Be Awake, I'm sorry, and it's like,
Shout out to Be Real.
I
Shout out to Be Real.
yeah, I just saying, shout out to Be Real, and it's just like I don't want to.
Be real.
I
That's
did
real,
the
man.
420 event with those guys, man. He's a dope.
Yeah,
dude.
my bad. I did that.
That's Sean Shaman Lane right there.
Yeah.
But, it's just like I want to make sure that we're making sure that like we all speak about the next generation is the most important one, and we should be influencing them to be going the right direction with their words, so that we guide their next generation with the right guidance.
Facts.
Yeah, I think
When
free
I was
speech
in middle
is-
school.
I
Go
think
ahead.
free,
Yeah,
free speech it's all good to have the option to be as vocal as possible, but we all have to know that our words carry weight. So like
That's
when
right.
it becomes not only saying what you're saying, especially when it comes on to
You get toxic.
yeah, and you bring that in the street and becomes reality. It is also on you now
Absolutely.
to say, hey, listen, I was just rapping.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
A lot of people don't know how to do that, to separate it and be conscious enough to always stay in the present and say, hey, I'm rapping.
And that's why I like how you come from the love. When you talk about love so much, I was listening to you guys earlier, and you said, I like coming from a love perspective because you can always touch somebody with love. And it's like you don't really always want to be touched by some of the things that you want them to get it out, but you don't always want to be touching people. So I feel like sometimes they should record these records. They should maybe even film the record, but they shouldn't always upload these records.
And also one more thing, like people want you to stand on that. Certain people, like if you're making music like that,
you better be ready.
You got dudes that are really living that life, that are really about that life, that will check your temperature, man. It will happen to you. And that's the thing, like that's what that's what I think was different versus like when we were first coming up. Like, is you kind of had to live with the you know, the music that you're making, the you know, whether
I'm
you're saying you had to live
bro.
that. What's that?
Yeah, it's like I'm 37 and I was born in 86, and I knew I got my temperature checked multiple times before I even turned the age of 16. And it's like you got to kind of you got to learn the lay of the land. No matter where you live, no matter where you move. Back then, it was a thing. You feel me? So it's like now that I get to know their age, and I see kids kind of just willy nilly with what do you call it, paisley print. You feel me? Bandana out of any given pocket of their pants.
Right? Yeah.
You feel me? And all of a sudden, that's a lifestyle in an organization they want to represent. And it's like, brother, man. You know what I'm saying? So
the labels are pushing it though. That's really one of the toughest parts.
They're pushing for whatever, like we talked about how sex sells and It's like they're pushing for whatever's gonna get the strings. Once that's out the window, once they don't care, once we stop caring about a flag being out of a pocket, they're gonna stop caring about the streams that it stops bringing.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, of course.
I want to bring in Nicholas Jones's comment on the issue right here. There's always going to be an outlet for them to release their music, and there'll always be someone ready to exploit those kids, like B-Awake was saying right there, especially for profit. These execs and A&Rs know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very finely tuned algorithm for them to be able to find people that want their voice heard like everybody else, of course, but just the wrong kind of words that they know we don't need, but that will just spin on the radio all day long. You feel me? So just,
And if that kid gets killed, they're on to the next.
Man.
You know,
for real,
and that's the coldest part about it. Like while their whole family's mourning, they're on to another artist or whatever.
Because they got checked or something bad happened and it was out somewhere and they shouldn't have been, and they said something they shouldn't have said, and they wanted to be repping whatever they was repping because they came with 5 of their friends that flew out from wherever they were from. And it's like, you ain't gonna make a home like that, bro. Like, you gotta go out with being humble. You gotta go out and be gracious with the way you speak and the way you move around other people. Look
what happened to Tekashi. That's a prime example of that right there.
Well, on that note, we're out of time.